I wanted to take a moment here and talk about a new game that's coming out. And I had a chance to play the demo here recently. And we're going to be discussing Octopath Traveler for the Nintendo Switch. It's actually a Nintendo Switch exclusive, so it's not going to be on any other systems, which is kind of exciting that now we're starting to get third-party Nintendo Switch exclusives. They're being built from the ground up for the Nintendo Switch. So basically, I'm gonna be honest. I really don't have much experience at all with JRPGs. I have even less experience with turn-based RPGs in general, and even far more less experience with turn-based JRPGs. I really started just dipping my toes in this a few months ago when I started playing the working design titles on Sega CD. Most notably, I've been playing Vi on the Sega CD. And at first, I was like, this game is stupid. I played it for a little bit. When it was just one person in the party, it seemed like the game was just stupid. Once I added another member to the party, it started to flush itself out, and I started to understand the mechanics more. Because basically, I was just like, I'm this one guy, I'm going to go up to my first boss and try to take him down. And I did, and it was horrible. It did not work. So I got another member of the party, and I went to the boss, and I still got completely annihilated. So me and this other guy, we just started going through dungeons over and over and over and over and over, building up stats, leveling up. By about level 13, I went back to the Mantis boss and was able to vanquish him quite nicely. So basically, I understood how the mechanics worked. I understood, how that went about. So with that understanding, I was like, okay, this actually makes sense now. I'm starting to understand how it works. Basically, the more people you have in your party, the more you can delegate certain tasks to each member. Like you had, as far as Vi goes, it seems like you have two heavies, and then you have two medics. The mages basically are throwing around health spells, while the heavies are beating the crap out of people. Or you can do it in reverse. You can have the mages throw magic spells on enemies, and have the heavies be giving potions out to the party. Either or, it seemed like both tactics worked about the same. Once I got 4 members in the party, I really understood the mechanics of it, and I really started enjoying myself. Playing a JRPG, a turn-based JRPG, a 16-bit turn-based top-down JRPG nonetheless, I was actually really enjoying myself. And so I was like, well, I'm going to have to check out some other things. So I played a little bit of Lunar, and it was okay. Played a little Popful Mail. Really different. I was not expecting at all what I got in Popful Mail. Then I decided to try some Western point-and-click RPGs. So I started messing with Dungeons and Dragons and Dungeon Master and some other things like that. So with that in mind, Square Enix announced Octopath Traveler back 6 months ago or something like that. They announced it. And I kind of blew it off at the time. But since then, I've been jumping into these JRPGs. I was like, this is actually pretty cool. So I went and I put in a pre-order for the Wayfarer edition, just to have it locked down. And I figured, well, I could make a better determination later on. All through E3, I was watching videos and some other things about it, and it looked really interesting. And then I saw that last night while I was at work, or Friday night while I was at work, I watched a video and they mentioned something about there being a demo that was released. So I was like, there's a demo release? Well, shoot fire. So I went on the Switch eShop, and sure enough, there was a demo. So I went and downloaded the demo, and I started playing that. Now I'm going to be using footage from a YouTube channel, Collector Togami. I wrote this person, asked them if I could use it. They said I could use it. They granted me permission. So I'm going ahead and using that. They had a lot of tutorials on their page. So feel free to go over there and give them a like, give them a comment, subscribe, whatever. I chose the character of Therion because he's a thief, and I love thief characters. That's kind of my thing, is sneaking in the shadows, pickpocketing, and that kind of thing. And so I was like, I'll play as a thief. This might be mildly entertaining. So I started playing as a thief, and the game is really, really interesting how it's set up. There was a lot of reading at the beginning, but once you were able to start exploring the town, things started to get a little bit better. Once I went into the first, the mansion, which is like the first real area where you can get ambushed by enemies and that kind of thing, I was able to actually see how the combat worked. And I watched a lot of videos and heard them explaining it, but it just didn't make sense how they were explaining it until I was able to put that in practice and actually start playing it. And so basically when you walk up to an enemy and it engages in the combat, it'll have question marks underneath the enemy, which is different weapons or magic that the character may have at their disposal. You may have those weapons, you may not have those weapons. You may have those spells, you may not have those spells. So pretty much once you encounter an enemy, what I was doing is basically I would slash them with the sword, and if it shows a vulnerability, it'll say weak on the screen or it'll say break on the screen. So you're trying to weaken their armor or break their armor, and then you can unleash heavier attacks on them. So if you have the right weapon or right spell, it'll weaken or break their armor. If you don't have the right weapon or if you don't have the right spell, it just simply is an attack, and it's a very weak attack. It doesn't really do much. So basically, you know, choose a sword, hit them. If it doesn't do anything, choose a dagger, hit them. Then it might say weak or it'll say break. And once you break the armor, it gives you another turn immediately. And so then you can hit them again to do more damage. But what I was seeing is you hit them once, and then each time you hit them, each time you make a successful attack, you get a power-up point. And once you get once you get a power-up point, then once their armor is broken, then you can supercharge your attack and unleash, like, you know, a super attack. So pretty much if you can do up to 3 power-ups per attack, but once you use a power-up, pretty much you skip a turn on the next one. I'll go ahead and I'll show the screen what it says as far as the tutorial. Once their shields are down and you have a good enough charge, then you can unleash like a super attack where it has like 4 hits, and usually you can vanquish the enemy right there at that spot. And once I put that into motion, I had like 4 charges saved up, and I broke their armor. I tapped in, I fully charged up my special attack, I hit attack, and he just unleashed a fury of attacks on this person, and the person just evaporated. It was by far one of the most satisfying things I've encountered in a long time in a video game. It was just ridiculously satisfying. So I started going through the mansion, getting treasure chests and doing this and doing that, and attacking other random encounters as they happened. And then at the end of the mansion, you encounter a boss battle. And so I went and entered combat with the boss, and it was actually really eye-opening how the difficulty ramped up at that point. The first attempt, I did get a game over, so I had to reevaluate my strategy. So I went back in, and on the second one, on the first fight, I was focusing on the minion, because I figured I'll take out the minion, and then I could focus on the boss. Well, I didn't realize that after you take out the minion, he just puts another one there. So on the second battle, I decided, well, I'll just focus on the boss first, take him out, and then I'll take out the minion after that. So that was a much more successful strategy. So I went up, and it was just really interesting how it was laid out, because you can break their armor, you can do attacks, but they're still not completely dead, so they recharge your armor back, and they recharge, you know, different things. And so it was really interesting to see how they set it up.
No, you don't.
Bottom line, this is going to be a really fantastic game. I just screwed around with the demo for 2 hours, and it was just a really satisfying experience. The visual art of the game is just phenomenal. The way the lighting is, I was surprised that there's actually voice acting. The story is pretty interesting as well. It's just from what I can see, it's turning out to be a really top-notch release, and I'm really excited that I put in the pre-order and I'll be able to enjoy it when it ships later on next month. So I don't have much else to say. I'll probably discuss this a little bit further on whenever I get the game, when I start going through all the characters, just talking about my impressions thus far as I'm going through the game and tackling more storylines. But this is definitely really going to be a sleeper hit. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of along the same lines as Until Dawn. This is going to really catch a lot of people off guard, and I'm really anxious to see how this does, because just having a go at it, it was really enjoyable. And it's especially interesting, me having really next to zero experience in the genre, I was still able to actually get pretty well. I think right now my character is like level 9 or level 10, and I was just screwing around for 2 hours. So I have a feeling this is going to be a really fun, engaging game. So yeah, everybody else go check it out when it comes out on July 18th, I believe. I think. But yeah, thanks for watching, and peace out.